Director of Residence Education, to make an announcement.
Put that down, but I have it in case you have questions.
Cool.
Hi, everybody. Jean McKinney from Residential Life. How are you all this evening? On, that helps. I'll try not to wander, which I tend to do when I talk, but then people can't hear me, so I'll do my best. I am here to share with you a couple of proposed changes that Residential Life is discussing around assignments processes. I am responsible for Residential Life as a whole, but I am here just talking about assignments at the moment. Our goal with these changes is really to make processes clearer. The changes themselves aren't that significant around how students will interact with the process, but hopefully we'll make it more understandable about kind of what people are eligible for. So I already introduced myself, which is the next slide. So I want to talk a little bit about kind of what our current process is and what our current reality is. So I'll take the next slide. So I'm not going to try to read these numbers, but what this tells you is that we have more students assigned to on-campus housing this fall than we have design beds. Okay, so design beds, there's everything except for economy triples and lounges that we use as expanded housing. We are currently was a 13,959, something like that, and our available total expanded is 14,279. Take the next slide. So what you can see from that is the demand for on-campus housing continues to exceed what we actually have available for on-campus housing, and so we continue to use. And our goal is to house as many students as we can because we know a lot of students have the demand of continuing to live on campus. So we can continue to use those expanded options to house the students that we have. We do hold out before we do fall room selection a number of beds that we project in for the incoming first year class. The university gives us that number of kind of how we project as that year's admissions number. We do require first year students to live with us unless they meet an exemption criteria. So that number is, pretty predictable, although yield, if you ever think about assignments process, is a question in that. But we know what we think we need to hold, and then we also hold beds for incoming transfers, and that number is amazingly consistent of somewhere around 700 incoming transfer students in the fall who request to live on campus. It was a little less than that this year, but for years it's been like 700, give or take some change. So that number is pretty easy for us to predict. So currently, what we do with the room selection process for returning students is there are we use we use a freshman and sophomore process and a junior senior process. So students who are rising sophomores or continuing freshmen enter into this first process, and we have enough beds in the selection process for them to be able to select a bed. Okay, so those are typically mostly shared rooms. There are some other rooms in that process as well, but mostly shared. And then students who are rising juniors and seniors are eligible for a different process, which is the junior senior process. Those students have access to singles, apartment beds, and then any remaining shared beds that we have after we put enough in for freshman and sophomore. And there are not enough beds in that process for that whole group of students. We made a decision several years ago when we kept getting rising demand from returning students that we could no longer house all the students who requested an appointment for housing, which was a hard decision on our part, but it had to happen because we ended up in the Economy Lodge and then changed the process. So some of you might remember that we had transferred students in the Economy Lodge. We'll go to the changes. So what we're proposing to change is we'll still have those two processes, kind of a shared room process and a single room process. But describe who's eligible for those processes a little bit differently. The academic level piece is a really imperfect measure of how long someone has been on campus. There are students that enter the university as first-time first-year students who are entering a sophomore status. There are people who have been on campus for 4 semesters going into their third year who will not yet be junior academic status because they had to drop a class or something in that process. And so that whole, it used to be a really good measure. It is no longer anymore. So what we wanted to do is identify a way that students and their families would know well ahead of time which process they were entering into. So we're going to use admit term as the way we identify who's going to go into which process. So if a student was admitted within the last 3 semesters, so for the spring's process, it would be spring 25, fall 24, spring 24, we'll go into that shared room process. Whether you're entered as a first-year student or a transfer student, all those students will go into the process where there will be a bed available for them to select. Anyone who came in 4 semesters or more would be in that, what was the junior-senior process. So same kind of 2 processes that students will be eligible for, just a clear identification of who goes into which one. Okay? All the other things in the process, and I know some of you are first-year students, so you're like, I have no idea what she's talking about, so I haven't done this yet. Some of you who have done this before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The other things are not going to change. Priority, the way priority is calculated around the number of semesters the student has been on campus and then a random number. Application-based programs, so the defined residential communities, that process will stay the same, et cetera. And I've already talked about rationale, but we can leave it up there. So that's really the first change that I wanted to come here and talk to you about. Here are your questions, why you might like the change, what concerns you might have, etc. So I'll stop here for any questions for a minute and then go to the second part, which is even less complicated than this one. Yes, Charles.
Secretary Goodchild.
For housing, if someone is going into your junior senior year and they're applying for the junior senior housing, how realistic is it for them to find out if they get it and then within the timeline of also needing to sign a lease? For instance, if someone doesn't get it, how does it leave them enough time to find on campus housing? How does that work?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. So one, yes, it does. So our room selection process ends in early April. I don't know the exact date. And there are lots of off-campus availability like that through the summer. We also this past year maintained a wait list for students who may not have gotten up housing in that process, but who are still interested in on-campus housing. There were some students on that wait list who had participated in online room selection, and others who hadn't for a variety of reasons. They missed the appointment deadline, they were returning from a semester away, they lived off campus, etc. There were over 300 students who were on that wait list, and over 200 students were able to get a bed through some summer process. So we did this year say, if you really want to stay on campus, get on this wait list, because we're going to be able to help a lot of students. And we go, why is that? If you in April, you don't have beds, and in July you have beds. Why is that? There are students who cancel over this, in that summer period. And we do have to wait until we actually know those first year and transfer numbers before we start giving cancellation beds away. We've had years where the first year class come in high, and we have to do some dancing to get everybody in. So does that help your question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Senator Kim.
How would that, students in that plan, let's say they have their first semester in London, how would their priority be calculated if they come back to the second semester?
That would count as their first admit term because they were admitted in fall of 24, right? And so that would be the admit term that they would be in the process.
Further questions?
I'll go through the second one and then see if people have feedback or concerns. The second thing is really a similar concept. We currently have a first-year residency requirement that we all just talked about as the first-year residency requirement, which basically says first-time first-year students have to reside on campus, and therefore we guarantee first-year students housing. Again, some students come in not as freshmen, or right, turn sophomores really, after one semester on campus. And so we really want to say that first-time, first-year undergraduate students in a degree-granting program are required to live on campus for their first 2 semesters enrolled, unless they meet one of the exceptions. It's really the same thing of really talking about admit term rather than academic level in the concept. Back to your question, a first semester abroad would count as fulfilling a residency requirement. So that's what this change basically is. Same thing, except instead of talking about freshmen with 12 credits, it's talking about first year undergraduate students for 2 semesters. Questions about that or any feedback, thoughts, considerations, things you would want us to think about as we move forward? I have bored you all to death. Yeah. Oh, I don't acknowledge you. Speaker does.
I talked about this with you separately, but just like the Senate can know about it. You mentioned 300 students that stayed in the wait list and 200 people got housing. Would you suggest then for any student that say come April they don't have housing, but they don't really think looking off campus is a solution for them? Would you say that if they stay through the waitlist process over the summer, it's a very high chance that they'll get something on campus the following academic year?
It's a very high chance as long as the incoming class comes in as we project it to come in, right? And so that's the unknown factor in that. But we always have several hundred cancellations. If you look back at the original numbers, we had 1,359 and we actually had 1,400 available beds. So we had some wiggle still at the end of the summer and had people walking in the last few days of August seeking on-campus housing and we were able to assign them. So yes, absolutely. If students are really wanting to stay on campus, we are likely to be able to help them.
If a microphone.
I have a question regarding break housing. My roommate currently wasn't able to get into break housing, but she's also an honors college student. The issue that happened this Thanksgiving was she wasn't able to get a plane ticket to go home, and instead she was going to go all the way to Connecticut to get a hotel room for that break and spend it by herself. I told her to live with me for that time being. But I wanted to ask, why is there no break housing in the honors college, and what constitutes specific housing area as housing? Why is some break housing and not others?
So, it's a complicated question, which we can take on another time, spend a lot of time on it. We don't have a significant demand. When we look at the number of students who actually stay on campus for break housing, it is not equal to the number of break housing beds that we have. And so there is, to have more break housing with the amount of staffing and infrastructure that the campus needs to have to support break housing, it hasn't made sense. That doesn't mean I don't hear your question that every area doesn't have break housing. Typically for breaks, we will have a small number of temporary break housing options. So if your friend is still seeking something, it sounds like you have offered, so that's great. But we typically have some beds that we can assign people who are not in break housing to over break for a temporary basis. Limited because we're using everything.
And how would one apply for that? And then why does break housing cost extra?
One would apply by contacting the assignments office, the National Assignments Office, 235 Whitmore. And it costs more because staffing and utilities and all those things are needed to support those buildings being open.
Thank you.
Senator Trung. Microphone, Jill.
I just had a quick question regarding the temporary break housing. Is there any sort of criteria for what would qualify someone for temporary break housing, or, for example, priority for international students or students who are out of state?
It really is first come, first served because it's limited.
Feedback. Any further questions? Yep, Secretary Goodchild. Microphone. Thank you.
My question is just for the situation, if someone's in a situation where they are not able to get on-campus housing and they're also not able to get off-campus housing, is there does UMass help people in like emergency situations like that? Is there like systems in place for someone if they're in that type of situation?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the Dean of Students Office is the first stop. They can help coordinate those resources for students around kind of making some of those decisions, connecting them to the options, connecting them to our office. Also, there's some grants and other funds that might be available for students. So that would be a kind of first stop to coordinate that assistance. You're welcome.
Further questions? Or feedback, I guess. All right.
Hearing none, I'm assuming that people are that makes sense. Right? Am I doing that makes sense? It's a little clearer. Yes. Why would you ever do that? Perfect.
Okay. Any other individuals seek recognition for announcements? Yes, President Humphreys.
Hi, everybody. Just wanted to put this on your radar real quick. We are looking to, some of you that were here last year may remember we had a food drive collection to benefit Massbrook's food drive here at Senate. We're looking to bring back something like that for next week. I did ask Massbrook if they'd like to do it again, waiting for a response. If not, I'll go to SEPA, but just keep that in mind. I am looking to have some kind of food drive competition next week, and I'll be sending something out in the group once it is confirmed, but I wanted to kind of get that on your radar now so you can start thinking about it. Thank you.
I think we could do a little committee competition. Yeah. Yeah. Executive legislative competition so you can donate the most goods. Does that sound fun to people? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Any other announcements? All right. There being no more announcements, the Associate Speaker will record the roll call.
Senator Denny. Senator Alamandre. Senator Amin. Senator Borski. Senator Butusova. Senator DeMarco. Senator Dami. Here. Senator Duarte. Here. Senator Duvetti. Here. Senator Eze. Present. Senator Germain. Senator Hercule. Senator Hiranandani. Senator Ibrahim. Senator Imran. Senator Jameh. Senator Kim. Here. Senator Kumar. Senator Lequier. Senator Lewis. Chair Mazanda. Senator Mello. Senator Evans. Senator Nguyen. Chair Onyeka. Senator Patel. Senator Patak, Senator Pastorella, Senator Pons, Senator Prabhakaran, Senator Prabhakar, Chair Rabin, Senator Rue, Chair Sarna, Chair Sharma, Chair Stamen, Senator Silveria, Senator Strong, Senator Senator Tao, Chair Tran, Senator Truong, Senator Verma, Senator Wood. It's 31 voting members.
All right, with 31, we do have quorum. Alrighty. The minutes from the last Senate meeting were sent out to you all 48 hours prior. Are there any corrections to the minutes? With no corrections, the minutes stand approved without objection. On to officer reports. Trustee Oliveira is recognized. Okay. President Humphries.
Hello, everybody. I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful week. Happy Wednesday. I do have a couple of updates of what we worked on over the past week. This past Thursday, Vice President Leone, General Darvanga, and Secretary Vitale and I, we met with Dean Cardoso Ross in the Dean of Students Office to discuss the beginning of some potential revisions to the Code of Conduct. We had a really productive discussion, and we identified a few different areas of the code that we think could be updated, and they were very receptive to that. So the next step is going to be to schedule a series of follow-up meetings, as well as kind of create a shared drive where we can keep track of our progress. And the hope is to have those sort of configured before the end of the year. I've been working on finalizing the different task forces that we're starting, that we're going to talk about during committee of the whole tonight. So that's been a big part of my week. And then I met with Secretary Bellaweave last Thursday, and we started going over the operating budget for next year. We're in the process of doing that, but I can confirm that that is going very well, because believe it or not, that season will soon be upon us. Otherwise, earlier today, it was yesterday, I attended the Food Security Resource Fair. This weekend, I'm going to be attending both Herb Cultural Night as well as AfroBall. Herb Cultural Night is on Friday from 7 to 11. Saturday is AfroBall, also from 7 to 11. Our own Secretary Lombo has done a great job putting that on, and we also, our DIA fund funded both events. So with that being said, I encourage everybody to show up, represent the SGA strong, and I'll be there, so you'll have plenty of people to hang out with and get to know your constituents. So that's everything for me today. Does anybody have any questions? All right.
Thank you. Vice President Leone.
All right, how's everybody doing tonight? It's kind of quiet. Good, energy, good. Most of the things that we was calling, I just want to add two things. We're going to be introducing working groups tonight, and there's two working groups that we haven't finalized yet that we'll be introducing next week. One is the SGA consultation policy. We want to revamp the consultation policy. It's very outdated. It hasn't been updated since 2016, so we just kind of want to work to get things modernized. And then the other working group we want to do is our strategic planning group. This is something that Michael started working on with Speaker Fallon last year. And so the problem with SGA is that we're only here for 4 years. If you make it all 4 years, I say that because most people don't. Colin's the only person in our class who's made it all 4 years, surprisingly. I say that surprisingly, not anyways. So long story short, the problem is that every 4 years people change out, and a lot of long-term issues we're not able to address. So we kind of want to get a working group that establishes like issues that have existed in the SGA for like a long time, so that when we graduate, when all the freshmen here graduate, we can say that in 4 years from now, there's a lot of progress on this big issue that's been going on. Those are the two main things. I've done everything else I called last week. And the last thing I want to mention was I emailed the Board of Trustees last week about the resolution that we passed and trying to create dialogue and an open forum surrounding it. And so I gave them a deadline to hopefully get back to me this Friday. I have not heard back from anybody yet. And so if I don't, I will be sending a follow-up email to hopefully have the Board of Trustees engage with the student body surrounding divestment and campus activism. Any questions at all? Cool, thank you.
Thank you. So good evening, everyone. Again, it sucks that it's getting dark out by the time we start Senate. It's dark when we leave. It's dark all the time, it seems. I just have a few updates here. A reminder that the Burke bonding dinner is tonight. Melina and I will both be there. It's going to be a blast. Shout out to Internal Development for organizing that. Also, Sunday lunch. Just a reminder about that as well. Time is TBD, but I'm sure Sean will be in touch, and Internal Development will be in touch about that. Also, Melina, I just wanted to remind you all about attending your mandatory 2 ESO events. As a reminder, ESOs are agencies and RSOs. It's kind of a blanket term for those two. So an RSO is like a student club agency. The Collegian is an agency, for example. So each senator, each voting member of the legislative branch is required to attend at least 2 events. Events could look like, for example, Romeo and Juliet, which is being presented by UMass Theater Guilds. I'm going to that on Friday with some friends. One of my friends is actually in the Theater Guild and performing that night. Also going to Afroball, and we'll see about Arab Cultural Night. This is my birthday weekend, so might be spending time with family. But those are all great examples of our ESO events. And you'll find the link to submit your ESO event attendance in the agenda email. Everyone saw that, correct? It was in bold red letters. Cool. Okay. All right. Everything else is in my report. It's pretty lengthy this time, so do give it a read. It's got some great stuff in it. But any questions? Wonderful. All right. Associate Speaker Amherst.
Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Really nice weekend. I didn't do much last week because I had to travel home to vote. I did have my regular meetings though, and on Friday I met with the Clark College Student Board for an emergency funding request for a student group out of Mount Holyoke. That was the Nepali Student Association. We funded up some money. We only have so much in our small budget, but that's really cool. That's something I did. And I have officially appointed my 2 special assistants. The clerk of the Senate is Ishan Muvedi, and the records officer is Kami Hirandani. So if you can give a round of applause for those 2. I can tell they're already going to be so great, and I'm so excited to have them working with Michael and I. So yeah. They're officially being appointed tomorrow at Administrative Affairs. So if anyone wants to pop by and stay for that, you're more than welcome to. I think that's at 6:30 tomorrow. That's all for me. Everything else is pretty much in my report out. If you see Speaker Flanagan tomorrow, make sure you wish him a happy birthday. Thank you.
All right. The Chief Justice. Yeah. All right. The Residence Hall Association President.
Hey everyone, hope everyone is doing okay. I don't have much to say, but RHA is going to their first conference this weekend. It is going to be in Oneida, New York, so upstate New York. The conference is called NEACR. It's a really good opportunity for us to get to interact with other RHAs from the New England area. And yeah, we're bringing most of our e-board and a couple House Council members. Does anyone have any questions about that? Awesome. Thank you.
Any RSO Council presidents to be recognized? Any agency representatives may be recognized. All right, on to cabinets. Chief of Staff, Ms. Moore.
Wait, I have it.
Okay.
Okay, so his report out is. So his report out is submitted. But he just wanted me to mention that tomorrow he's trying to gather like people for moving the bikes from, I believe, Maple to the bike thing downstairs. So if anybody is able and willing to help move those bikes, to please email and message him tonight so he can form a list and a plan. A general idea is that it's tomorrow afternoon, but it's subject to change based on availability. If you have any questions, email him.
Secretary Delarue.
Yeah, my report's all up there. As Glenn said, I started working on the operating budget, which is you'll hear more about next week. But if anyone has any questions, awesome.
Secretary Merchant.
Everyone, my report is out. Last week I worked a lot on registry reform. We had our first week meeting, not last Monday, but the Monday before that, and we'll have our next meeting on Monday. Please look out for the senator applications for that group. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Attorney General Dorvanga.
Hello, everyone. So some things to highlight on my report out. It's up there, by the way. It's in the packet, by the way. My new undersecretary will be sworn in next Senate meeting, Jack McDermott. Also, there are going to be some content advisor vacancies next semester. So if you want to apply, please tell your friends to apply for content advisor. That will be coming out towards the end of the semester. Additionally, I attend the conduct reform working group as Vice President Leone and President Humphreys mentioned, and I have been working on Secretary Goodchild's bylaws, which will go in here next week because I cannot meet with also tomorrow. So yeah, any questions?
Secretary Vitale.
What's going on, everybody? Everything's in my report out. I think I forgot to mention. I'm gonna let Charlie touch on this too. But we're going to be speaking to the ADA complaint that we were mentioning last meeting. Yeah, any questions?
Secretary Heblo. He's not on the Zoom. Okay. Secretary Wombo.
Hey guys, I hope everyone is doing okay. I was until I broke my leg, but okay. But I didn't have time to put my report out because I was in the hospital. But you know, I've been working on like DIA fund stuff as well as just like planning multicultural night as well. And for the most part, that's all I've been doing. But I'm just gonna emphasize what President Humphreys and Speaker Flanagan said. Please come to events, and we did fund BCN and Afroball here through Senate. So I hope I will see you guys. I'll be there for both. So I hope I see you guys on Friday and Saturday. Any questions? No.
Secretary Sharda.
My report out is submitted, but I will just say that from Bella, I believe her committee, she's trying to get a list of people to help lend out eye clickers. So if she's messaged you, please give her or me your Spire ID and your Net ID so I can get you in the system so you can go ahead and rent out eye clickers to people. Questions?
Secretary Nicholson. Secretary DeRose.
Hi, everyone. So I've been working a lot on the Student Sustainability Coalition things. We're having our next meeting on Monday. If anyone's interested, I'll be sending out a reminder to the entirety of Senate on Friday about that meeting on Monday. It'll be in the campus center. Kathy Wicks, who is in charge of sustainability for dining, will be attending, so she's going to be answering questions if anyone has them. And then I've planned our last Student Sustainability Coalition meeting of the semester, which is going to be a crafting event in the makerspace. If anyone wants to attend that, I'll be sending out a reminder.
Monday is our next Earth Day planning meeting. If anyone's interested in planning our Earth Day celebration in the spring, talk to me. And then today I met with my undersecretary and Secretary Vitale, and we were talking about creating some sort of virtual tour for sustainable spots on campus you add to our website. And then, I also met with someone from Sustainable UMass to talk about the new thrift space that is going to be in Hamden. So, any questions?
President Humphreys.
Tableau is here.
So if all goes well, we should be able to see Secretary Heblow on the screen. If we swipe over other way. One more. Okay. This is always a challenge. Oh. Yes. Okay. Kenyatta, we can. Oh wait. Kenyatta, if you turn your camera on, everyone will be able to see you. Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, let me get a microphone. Yeah, we can hear you.
Everyone can see me. That's awesome.
Sorry. Yeah, I can turn my camera on. I don't know. Yes.
Oh, very nice.
There we go.
Very nice. Very
Flattering you.
nice.
All right. You're live.
All right. So I can just give my report really quick. Hi guys. I'm the Secretary of External Affairs. Right now, as you probably know, there's a lot of craziness in DC, so I had to join late. I apologize. So right now, I'm currently selecting for my undersecretary positions, the Assistant Secretary of External Affairs and the Assistant Secretary of International Services. I would say right now, the current times, these are extremely vital positions that would be able to maintain a good relation with our local politicians, which I think may potentially be neglected very soon. So I think that applying to these positions, helping the SGA kind of foster that type of connection with the type of people, I think would be vital. And my application closes tomorrow at 11:59. So if you just check out on I think the SGA Instagram, website, etc. I can also send links out as well to the SGA. And feel free to apply. We'd love to have senators on the team as well, so we can kind of get that rolling. Other than that, that's what I've been been doing is trying to create the best possible team going into next year. Thank you. If there's any questions, comments, or concerns about the positions or anything like that, let me know.
Questions? Thank you, Kenyatta.
Thank you.
We're Secretary Goodchild's. I was Secretary Heblow.
So as Ryan mentioned, obviously I've been working a lot on my bylaws. I got a text yesterday during our cabinet meeting, actually a text back from the individual with the ADA complaint. I had a phone call scheduled on Thursday at 1 p.m. during my office hours. If anybody wants to stop by and help out with that, they are more than welcome to help out with the disability concern. I have been prepping for a meeting with the dining director because I've just had like a bunch of ideas, like a bunch of initiatives come up in my brain. And also I still want to try to get that discount for veterans and also There used to be a U Pub on campus. I'm trying to figure out a way to supplement that with something else because that was a really good community space for veterans. Obviously, because a lot of them are over 21. And then I've been working on a rec center initiative because a lot of the ROTC program isn't just UMass; it's all the 5 colleges together. And there's some individuals from like Westfield State in the ROTC program, and they do trainings inside of the rec center. And if you're a guest, which these individuals are considered guests, they have to pay. And since they're part of our program, I'm trying to figure out a way if we can go around that because there's also only like 15 veterans or ROTC individuals that have to pay. So it's not like it would cost anything, and also their tuition is paid for by the government. But anyways, there's a bunch of reasons why. And then I attended a voice meeting, which happens monthly. It's a bunch of really instrumental veteran services leaders from all over. And it was a great opportunity to meet a lot of people involved in the work that I'm doing. And also, I met the veteran service officer for the Amherst area and got his contact and emailed with him. And now I have a connection with him, and he's a very good resource to have. Obviously, I've been continuing my office hours, and that would include maintaining my relationship with my constituents and hearing their concerns. That's where a lot of, my initiatives come from is through what my constituents tell me. Monday, obviously, we had Veterans Day off, but I did not have it off, so I brought hot chocolate to a bunch of veterans who were doing a flag guarding ceremony. I brought like a huge thing of hot chocolate. It was pretty dope. They were happy. I was happy. So that was awesome. I attended Narcan training. That was great. I am working on a textbook initiative with Bella. Hopefully that'll get kickstarted soon. I've still been doing work with my getting an undersecretary because I have interest from about 2 people, but I'm trying to gauge the interest and also I'm just kind of. Anyways, I'm still working on getting an undersecretary. And then I've just been continuing outreach. I've really just reached out to a lot of different people from a lot of different areas. And I finally got my Air Force meeting, and I don't know if I touched on that yet. But I've been working on a lot. Do we have any questions? That's really it. No. All right. Well, thank you guys.
Secretary Manyanga.
Hello, guys. Hope you guys are all doing well. First of all, thank you for everyone who attended Narcan training. That was a really good event, and I hope that more SGA members are equipped to handle those situations and educate the community. We're working on getting more Narcan equipment in the SGA office, including fentanyl testing strips and Narcan. Working on that with Esther. So hopefully that will be set up in the SGA office within the next couple of weeks. Please remember to take the National Health Assessment. If you can't find it, you might search National Health Assessment in your email and you'll find it. If you take it, you can actually get a free t-shirt. They're giving us right now. If you reach out to Diane, I'm pretty sure. Make sure to take that. Participation is really important, and we're trying to get as many responses as possible, and that will inform a lot of the work we're doing to better improve student health and well-being at UMass. I was also able to meet with Ruben Sandra, the Director of Recreation and Wellbeing. We were discussing ways we can foster more inclusive spaces within the Recreation Center and how we, as SGA, can collab and help address barriers to student participation and engagement with these services, which are really good for mental health. If you guys didn't know, the Rec Center also does a lot of things outside of, they have the gym, they have the club sports, but they also have nutrition advising, they have training, many amazing programs you guys should check out and encourage our constituents to get involved in. I've also been following up on action items from the Pedestrian Safety Committee. There should be another meeting in the next couple of weeks. We've been working on a climate survey to send out to RSO leaders, specifically cultural RSOs, to figure out specific needs of different communities and how we can address them. I have a meeting with Diane. She directs the prevention services. And we are talking about vape cessation initiatives and how we can improve student participation in those and improve those resources. And then also I am helping the Student Wellbeing Advisory Board with their mental health workshop. It will be on December 3rd. More information to come on that. And finally, I've been reaching out to different admin
different concerns students have voiced to me just in health and well-being in general on campus behind the scenes. So please continue to reach out, come to my office hours. If there's any concerns or change you want to see on campus, feel free to reach out and see how we can collaborate. Any questions? Thank you guys.
Secretary Nicholson.
I hope everyone's doing good. This week we had a subcommittee meeting for the Undergraduate Education Council for Flex 2.0. And so we're talking about whether that looks like a lot of constraints on like freshmen and however many credits you have to take in person versus online, or if it's like a fully online option. So that's something that I had last week and we're continuing to work on. Just keeping up with the Instagram as usual, a lot of posts regarding the election. We also have donation programs. The iClicker program is going to be tomorrow and Friday. And then I don't know if anyone's noticed, the takeovers have gone away from, we're having a lot of issues with the two-factor authentication on Instagram. The code's just not working. We're trying to fix it, but it's not really working. So looking at other alternatives besides having a bunch of people log into the Instagram, because I think that's the issue. And then I'm starting the cabinet introduction posts. That should be probably at the end of this week they'll go up, and then I'll go to the chairs. And then lastly, one of the new projects that I'm working on is I'm hoping to start to strengthen the network between current student government members and our alumni. Networking is really powerful, especially when you're trying to get a job out of college. That's something that I found I've been helped out a lot in Eisenberg, and I want to try to bring that to the student government. And so I'm working on that. Once I get some contact information from college, I'm going to start that. If anyone has any questions, let me know. Thank you.
On to any faculty senate representatives. All right. Senator Wu.
Hello, Senator Nevitz, Jacob, whatever you choose to call him. He and I both went to Academic Matters Council today, passed a bunch of certificates, changes, whatnot, and classes. More importantly, they have now passed the academic integrity policy in its entirety without any revisions. So currently, I believe the next step in the processes is to go towards faculty senate. The meeting is December 4th, somewhere around there. Fifth, fourth, where it will be ratified there and presumably for rollout for 2025. They also passed the Title IX statement, as well as the ChatGPT sort of generative AI statement, surrounding the presentation that we were given a little while back. If you have any questions, feel free to come find myself, or I don't know if Jacob wants to talk to you guys, but you can sure as hell ask him as well.
Any questions? Thank you. Any ESO event representatives? Yes, Senator Borowski.
Hello. I've never used a microphone before. I'm sorry. Is this okay? So I am in the marching band. You guys might see us on the South Athletic Field, 4:40 to 6:10 every weekday. That's always fun. Or before, during, after football games, hockey games, basketball games, any school event. We're always there. You can't escape us. We have 400 members. This is our 151st season. We are the powering class of New England. That's the slogan. It is proven. We are the best, almost indisputably, in New England, and consistently ranked among the best in the nation for university marching bands, upwards of 400 members. And this fall, in around 2 weeks, we will be playing at the 98th Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. There's going to be an audience of projected more than 45 million people watching. An email was sent out today, but that's an email. Most things in there don't really have a lot of staying power with our with everybody, to be honest. So we all carry about, student senators, we're cabinet members, we all hold quite a bit of influence. And on behalf of the marching band, I would really appreciate it if you guys could repost some of the things we have going on, just spread the word to tune in on. It starts at 9 a.m. the week of. We will be hearing When We Get to the Star. We have around a minute and 30 seconds to perform This Will Be by Natalie Cole. We're very excited, practicing every day. Again, we're really, but we got to march 3 miles and be up at 6. So knowing we got people watching us would really be a great motivator. On Instagram, we're UMass Band. We post every day. We have a lot of great staff there, and we'd really appreciate it if you guys would spread the word. Thank you.
Any questions about it? All right, go UMass. Any Vice Chancellor, Student Advisory Board representatives? All right, on to Senate committee reports. Chair Rabin.
Hey everyone, I did not get my report of it, but I have it here. So like Abby mentioned before, there's going to be an iClicker Joe handout tomorrow from 5 to 7 p.m. and then on Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So please tell your friends about it if anyone you know needs an iClicker or anything like that. Help spread the word. And last committee, I announced my vice chair, and it's going to be Anika. So I'm super excited about that. Yeah, round of applause, everyone. And that's about it for right now. Yeah.
Questions?
Questions? Yes. No. Okay.
Chair Sarna.
Hey guys, I'm sorry I also did not get my report out in. Had a busy week, but I have it here. First thing, what I did this week, I had the internal development subcommittee meeting where we were just planning out the holiday party. If anyone's interested in helping us plan the holiday party, just feel free to send me an email. We also like kind of recruited Dale for holiday party planning. So if you guys want to join us, get some fun ideas, just reach out to me. Second, I've just been reviewing like my bylaws to see what are some things that I can do more within my role. I was supposed to have a one-on-one with Speaker Flanagan today, but I had to cancel it for some reason. Next thing, we're having lunch on Sunday. It's off campus. The time's going to be 1:30. So if you're free 1:30 Sunday, you're not doing anything better, come join us. Just make sure you fill out the form before Saturday so we're able to get in a reservation. And please do not fill out the form if you're unsure. Just because last time we did it, there were 30 people who signed up, only 5 people showed up. So we don't want that to happen again. We don't want SGA to have a bad reputation. Last thing, Speaker Flanagan mentioned, that there's dinner at Burke after Senate tonight. It's not going to be a long meeting, hopefully. So just join everyone. I won't be there, unfortunately. I have something due at 11:59. But like Michael said, he and Melina are going to be there. Morgan's going to be there. We're going to be there. So make sure you join the fun. But any questions?
Chair Onyeka.
Hi everyone. My report I was up there. I don't really have much to add. My committee is really just planning more around our Hot Topics event that should be happening the first week of December, hopefully. I do have a vice chair, so Senator Amin is my vice chair, so congratulations to her. And other than that, is there anything else? Questions? No? Okay.
Chair Tran.
Hi everybody. Basically, this is meeting time, so we are just doing a lot of CAP meeting things as well. I'm trying to supervise every of my senators to do that accordingly, and so far they're doing pretty good. The second thing is that we have a very productive meeting with Speaker Michael and also the new subcommittee, Julia, to discuss about the new subcommittee. Just a reminder for any senators that have received an email from Julia, please fill out the email about the when to meet, so we know that when we're gonna have a meeting then. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Anybody have any question? I'm good. Okay.
Chair Mazzando.
Hey everyone, it's me, Kundai. Kundai couldn't be here today, so I'm here in her stead. I'll go over a little bit what we've been doing.
The vice chair.
I'm Jacob Nevins, the vice chair of us.
Congratulations.
That's why I got to do this. Uska's been very busy. We have a lot of things going on. It's great success with all of our election work that we did, I went over and reviewed some of the turnouts for 2020 in the surrounding areas. All over, turnout was down, but in Amherst town, it was up. Now, it wasn't at 2020 levels, but compared to our region, we had a higher participation rate, which, for all intents and purposes, is a win. So I'm very happy to have seen that. Kundai, myself, and a few other senators participated in Walk for Light, which we walked around campus to see if there was any violations of ADA and other things getting in the way, lights not being on, cracks in the pavement. We were we ridiculed this campus. We were very on top of everything. We had lots of notices of violations. So very, very happy to see that. Very happy to see that senators came out to help us, and we're passionate about that work. We also had a meeting with Speaker Flanagan about the formation of a new subcommittee. So everybody looks bored, and I'm going to make you all participate. So raise your hand if you pay for tuition here. Oh wow, looks like it's almost all of you. Raise your hand if you'd like to know where your money's going. Oh, well, look at that, don't you know? Well, OSCA is looking to make a subcommittee on admin transparency here at UMass. One of the goals of that committee is to see the allocation of tuition payments among other transparency issues. We reviewed it with Speaker Flanagan. He said it was pretty good, so win for us. So if you are interested in being in this committee, we're looking to get at least one person from every standing committee that we have in the Senate right now. Email Kundai, and we will set that up. We have our OSCA meeting this coming Monday at 10 p.m., so please try and get it in before then. That way we can make sure you have interest, yada, yada, yada. That's all she wrote.
Any questions? Sure, Trent. Do you have a microphone? Question was, when are you going to send out the interest form?
You can just email Kundai directly and be like, hey, I'm interested in the admin transparency subcommittee and positions that follow with it. I know she's going to be sending emails out to all of the chairs that are out there. If you are interested in joining, it's going to be a really awesome way that we're going to be doing lots of advocacy. We're going to be working really hard to make UMass accountable for its actions, what it does around us, with us, and for us. So if that's stuff that you're passionate about, then this is the kind of committee you're looking for. Any other questions? Sweet.
Damon.
Okay, so I wrote 50 million paragraphs from my report out again.
I think the award for the longest report goes to Chair Damon this week. Round of applause.
I don't know how many people actually read it, so I've been summarizing, but I'm going to do that again. Okay, so Secretary Bellerive and I have been working in close proximity with our SACO finance staff and source to finalize enacted RSO revenue withdrawal. We are now currently trying to confirm and make sure RSOs are actually enacted. They're not, accident. We didn't mark them wrong. And then we're going to be putting that money into our long-term reserves, which we will also be calculating how much money is in that account as well. I was also able to meet with Attorney Farrell. We were able to discuss some concerns I had regarding across-the-board cuts, how it was conducted last year, how it will be conducted this year, and him and I also were able to go over the VPN guiding questions that I wrote up. I also wanted to take a moment and give a brief shout out to my vice chair, who is not here because she's not feeling so great. But my vice chair took my VPN babble and put it into really nice, easy to understand terms. So you guys should be seeing that document shortly. It was sent to Speaker Flanagan. This Monday I was also able to meet with our cultural advisors. I've been meeting with all the advisors from all the different councils, looking at what groups are spending money on, how can we help them, how can we best support our RSOs here on campus, and trying to learn how across the board cuts have been impacting them this year. And again, trying to problem solve and work with groups. I've been having real discussions, and a lot of interesting findings have been coming out of those meetings. So I'm really looking forward to continuing those. I will probably be meeting with the Religious and Advocacy Council next. So stay tuned for that. I can always talk about in specifics what I'm learning. I'm more than happy to just ask. Yeah, speaking of meeting with the club's, the advisors, I also met the club sports advisor last week, learned some interesting stuff there as well, and I learned that the main expenses for club sports happen to be, I know, shocker, travel, but this one was a shocker to me, inventory, like equipment, pennies, soccer balls. I start calling it the soccer ball problem. So currently working with their advisor Source, and I will be also discussing this with Rania about finding a storage space on campus for the summer for the I can't speak English, but for changing leadership so that they're not losing their soccer balls, their pennies, and they don't have to keep requesting funding for that because it does take up quite a bit of money actually. What else? Ways and Means has also officially started their budget training. They will be doing their first round with Campus Pulse. Please wish our wonderful warriors good luck as they will be braving the Campus Pulse system and my goofiness. On that note, we are also starting benchmarking. Our benchmarking group is meeting this Thursday at 5 p.m. We are going to be a reminder for group people regarding what benchmarking is. We're looking at public universities, seeing what they're doing for their funding processes, and seeing what we can adopt. And also, I talked about agencies earlier. Their budget deadline is coming up. So November 15th, actually, Jan and I, Sacco Finance and I, Jan, who I work with, we have, in order to support our agencies better financially, we set up an advisory deadline for them November 15th. That's coming up, and their deadline to submit the budgets to the Ways and Means Committee is also November 22nd. So Jan will be going over their budgets November 15th, making sure everything is A-okay, giving them their feedback that they used to get. I don't know how many of you guys know, but KSAGA used to do this, actually, so we're trying to give that support back to these agencies. Sorry, guys, there's a lot. That's that. And then lastly, this is actually an exciting thing. I would like to announce that I'll be officially changing how we're going to be doing across the board cuts for our agencies this year. So the process will be different. I don't know how familiar all of you are with the way across the board cuts were done last year. I have opinions on it and concerns, but I'm changing the process this year because we need our agencies here on campus, and this was a very well thought out decision. I assure you, I consulted multiple people. I talked with Sacco Finance, our SGA advisor, Sid, former Chair Marceau, Chair Joshi, Attorney Farrell. The list goes on. So moving forward, agencies will go through our budget review process first, and then they will go through across the board cuts immediately after. They will not be going through that process at the same time as the RSOs, which we used to do in years prior. Any questions on anything I just said?
Sorry. I know you talked about like the VPN guiding questions. Do you know like when you'd be able to share that with Senate? And could you like maybe share some of the questions like right now?
I can grab my computer and share some of them right now for sure. I believe I sent them to Speaker Flanagan, so I thought they would be up this week, but I'm not.
But there's no VPN or motions pertaining to VPN.
I meant the VPN guiding questions, because they want to see it in the Senate material.
I can add it to the Senate material.
Okay, yeah. Perfect.
That answer it. Any other questions?
Vice President Leone.
We paid Casey God with like SGA funds back in the day, right? Like, was that like SGA salaries? You know?
I don't know that off the top of my head. We would have to probably look into what we used to do back in the day.
Okay.
That would probably be our Secretary of Finances.
Okay. I can also confirm. My question was kind of like, do you know, like, if like her position would be like filled anytime soon, or like, do you know like who we can maybe contact for that?
Just
Oh, I should have touched upon that. I'm sorry. I had an interview actually with the person who would be hopefully filling in Casey Goss' position. So right now we have a search committee. Is that what they're called? But they basically like put up. They help hire the people who would be taking over like positions that need to be filled. Jesus, I'm so sorry, guys. But yes, we have someone we're interviewing. We interviewed with them today. We really like them. So we're in our second round of interviews. So it does look like that position will be filled. However, I do, from our previous conversations that we had about this position, I do not believe they will be paid out of SGA money, if that's where you were going with that question. Hopefully that answered your question. But yeah, second round of interviews will be beginning of next week, and then this Friday we're meeting with HR to regroup. Any other questions? Really? Not even about across the board cuts?
yes, Senator Mello.
Can you explain a little bit about the timeline now that you're expecting for the cross-board cuts and when that will be going into place?
Yeah. So I don't know how familiar you are with the current timeline and how it works, but I'm going to operate off of the basis that we don't know anything and just tell me what you know. But the way the process works for, are you talking about agencies specifically or RSOs? I'll start with agencies, okay, and then I'll go into RSOs. So agencies, the way the process usually works, and the way it's set up right now, is I release the guidelines in September. Yes? Yeah, beginning of September. I think I made it like available to view on September 1st. So that's like the create step. Basically, the agencies have until November 22nd to submit a budget request to the Ways and Means Committee. And then Thanksgiving break happens, committee comes back, and we have about a week to go through all of their budgets. After that, so I think that would be like around end of November, I would start the across-the-board cuts process with our SACO finance team and our Secretary of Finance. And this is all like the adjustment of that process is something we've been talking about for a while. But that's how that would look. And the purpose of that is so that the agencies are able to get their budget allocations by the end of this semester, so that they have all of spring semester to figure out, okay, how much funds do I have? How much more funds do I need? So that the SACO finance team and SEL are able to financially support them better, and they're not scrambling that same year that the funds are being allocated for to get the financial assistance that they need. Does that kind of make sense? For RSOs, it's a little bit more complicated of a process because I don't know how much you know about agencies, but the agencies have like an advisor. The advisor is a literal adult. So they are usually the one, they have like a hired person writing up the budget requests for them. So their process is a little bit more straightforward. For RSOs, I published the guidelines in September, and they have a couple months to go to my office hours. They go to budget workshops that they attend, and they submit a draft of their budget to their source advisor by November 22nd, 11:59 p.m. And then they have a couple more months to go back and forth with their advisor to get the feedback that they need. And then after that, their date of submission to the Ways and Means Committee is January 29th, 11:59 p.m. And then the committee spends the majority of the next semester reviewing those budgets. And so across the board cuts would happen for those RSOs usually like April, May-ish, and then appeals will start for AA around that time after we finish. Like there's an email that goes out, 5 business days, you guys are in AA, but that's kind of how that process works, and then the Senate approves it. Does that kind of make sense? I know I didn't give like calendar dates, but the important ones I gave, I think. Any other questions? No? Wow, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And Chair Sharma is.
Oh, Chair Sharma is still editing her bylaws. Yes. But they have been edited, and we're going over them. We'll be meeting with Speaker Flanagan about them, and it will probably be showing up in a motion in Senate sometime soon.
All right. SGA advisor is gone. Claire's not here. All righty. Does there just need to call in session the committee of the whole? All right. To address the task force presentation, correct? Excellent. All right. The Senate will stand in recess. And the committee of the whole shall be in session to discuss presidential task forces. Pursuant to Title II, parliamentary procedure is suspended, and the Senate may not take any official votes or actions.
Hello, everybody. How are we all feeling tonight? Are we having a good night? Yeah. Let's get excited. It's task force time. All right. So we have a little bit of a dilemma. The SGA is currently facing a very large number of complex problems, some of which have gone unaddressed for a really long time. As a result of these problems, many students are being adversely impacted. It's our responsibility to deliver concrete results and concrete solutions for the students. So, we have less than 7 months left in our term, which has resulted in an increased sense of urgency. There has been efforts to address many of the issues we face, but they have been largely disconnected and uncoordinated. So, and as you know, I am somebody who loves organization and productivity. I love getting things done. I love making sure that this SGA can be one of the most productive of all time. So, do not fear. A solution is here. Introducing executive task forces. Woo! All right. So, what are the task forces? I've got this lingering thing in my throat for like weeks. We got we got the Registry Reform Task Force, the SATF Reform Task Force, the Conduct Reform Task Force, the Student Advocacy Task Force, and the DEI Task Force. So we're going to quickly go through each one. So this is the Registry Reform Task Force. This task force is going to be charged of basically evaluating our current registry processes. Some of you guys may be aware there has been a lot of concerns that have been brought up about the way we currently do our processes. It hasn't been very user-friendly for groups. Hasn't been very user-friendly for our officers here. So what this group is going to do is to reform that process to be more efficient, so it can be better for our officers, better for our student groups, and so that we can have a more effective registry. Next slide. And you can see our wonderful secretary of the registry, Rodney Merchant, is going to be sharing that along with our UROC chair, hi Tran. Additionally, you can see below some of the membership listed. You're going to notice this. 2 undergraduate senators will be on each of these, and you're going to have a chance to apply for about 5 minutes after this brief presentation. So that you guys will have an opportunity to be a part of this. All right. So SATF Reform Task Force. This one particularly has to do with our financial issues. As I'm sure you've heard time and time again, we have a deficit. And I'm sure as you've heard time and time again, our financial practices are a few years overdue. It has been a while since we have revised them, and that is why we are creating this task force, because we feel that it is necessary that we do that in order to make sure that we can best serve our student groups and to make sure that we can best so we can best serve our student groups and to make sure that we are effectively using money from the students that you guys pay on your tuition. So here's the membership. Vice President Leone is one of the chairs. Secretary of Finance Valerie. And you can see here we have a list of members as well. Conduct Reform Task Force. So the Roman I haven't read the whole thing. This one stale territory. So I'm going to hand over to him.
Conduct Reform Task Force. So the Women document grants the SGA primary responsibility on matters regarding the code of conduct. It shall have privilege to recommend policy changes. How that works is we meet with the Dean of Students Office. We meet with Dean Cordofo. She's the head of the Dean of Students Office, who oversees the Student Conduct Office. We work with them to recommend policy changes. She signs off on them. They go to Shelley Perdomo, who is the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs and Campus Life. She signs off on them. They go to the Chancellor. And then the Chancellor can either say that he agrees with all these changes, or if he doesn't, he'll send it back and say, I agree with this, but not this, and here's why. So basically, the Chancellor agreed that there are things in the code that has to be reformed. It's been 5 years. Every 5 years, it's up for renewal. And so that's what this task force is for. This is a little different than the other task force in the sense that we're not requiring only a minimum of 2 senators, 2 chairs. If anyone wants to be involved, I already know Esther reached out to me, and so could I. I'm going to follow up with them. But if any other chair, any other senator wants to be involved with this, we want to take as much input from everybody as possible. So I will continue. And this is the membership.
All right. So this is the membership. Vice President Leone is going to be leading this one, and you can see our members here. By the way, when it comes, just a little note, when it comes to people who have been selected to be members, a lot of them have been based on positions relevant to the topic at hand. And we wanted to make sure that there was senator representation on each one. And regardless of what committee you serve on, you can really choose whichever ones you want. I'm going to send out the form to the after we're going to have like a 5-minute. We already are in recess, but 5 minutes where I'll play a little music for you guys. You guys can fill it out next. Student Advocacy Task Force. We're almost there, guys. So this one really is going to be dealing with all different needs of students. That has to do with basic needs, food security, housing, academic affairs, textbooks. This one really has a pretty broad scope compared to some of the other ones, and is really about helping students and helping the needs of students. A lot of this has to do with campus policy, especially, not a little bit less so than it does as internal SGA processes. But this is a very, very good committee. Let's look at the membership. So now, as you can see, our Secretary of University College, Dick Vitale, is going to be serving as the co-chair along with myself. A lot of times we kind of just put ourselves as the co-chair, like if there's another chair, like really doing a lot of the heavy lifting, but like if they want to, we'll put ourselves on there because I don't want to overwork anybody and we want to make sure that also just everything's running as efficiently as possible. But here's our membership again. This is one of our larger committees because there was just a lot of positions that I felt has relevance to this. So, and then finally the DEI task force. This one's a little bit of a different process because we already did have the applications for this. This one was done earlier before the creation of the other 4 task forces. I did want to bring it up anyway, though. We've kind of talked about it before, but it's about really supporting our cultural orchestras, expanding DEI-focused workshops and events offered by the SGA, creating a more inclusive, welcoming environment within the SGA. That's sort of our membership here. So that I want to talk a little bit about task force procedures. About some of the set procedures that we have, and that is the task force must meet no less frequently than every 2 weeks. So the task force can meet more frequently at the chair's discretion. So they can meet every week if they want, but we put this in here because we want to make sure that the task force is meeting regularly. Task force shall meet remotely via Zoom at least twice during the winter recess. Senators will not be required to attend because you will not going to get paid over the winter. However, for cabinet and chair officers, you will get paid. So you will be asked to attend these as part of your hours for winter. As for senators, if you want to come, like that's totally really cool, but also I guess you can't really require it because you're not getting paid. Oh, back. Sorry. The agenda should be at least for 48 hours prior for transparency purposes. The task forces may form subcommittees at chair's discretion for, I guess, for like an example, if you have like, I don't know, like the registry, or actually, no, we'll go to the advocacy task force. You might make yourself a basic needs subcommittee or an academic subcommittee or something. I don't know. That's at the chair's discretion or at the committee's discretion. All formal policy recommendations of the task force must be approved by majority vote of task force membership. Additionally, policy recommendations must ultimately be approved by me. Some of these policy task force recommendations might have to go through Senate, depending on what the nature of them is. That is something I can help guide you guys through. Some of them can be directly implemented, some cannot. It really just kind of depends on what the nature of it is and if it's required to go through Senate in order to take effect. So when it comes to like bylaw changes, that's something that will absolutely have to go through the Senate. But if it's something that has to do more with like a campus policy, then that might be something you work with an administrator to implement. Task forces are going to compile 2 reports. It was initially going to be 3, but I shortened it to 2 because we got a little bit of a later start than I would have liked. But it's going to be a midterm report will be due on the 28th of February, and a final report will be due on the 9th of May. And I'm going to provide a template for those. You should still submit policy recommendations as soon as they're completed and approved. The chair will do that. The purpose of these reports is for transparency, records keeping, and to allow me to evaluate the efficiency. So before we do questions, a couple other things I just want to kind of note. Really, the inspiration behind this is, I think we have a lot. I have 7 months of my term. We have a lot of really pressing issues still ahead of us. And while we've made great progress, I think that it's going to have to be all hands on deck these next 7 months. And it's going to need a lot of different, a lot more collaboration amongst our officers, as well as hopefully getting some of our senators involved. And I think this will allow for better communication. One of the issues that I've been sort of noticing a little bit is we've had just a little bit of disjointedness where, like, for example, the Senate is doing one thing, the executive will be doing another. And now, this isn't meant to replace Senate committees, for example. Like, they still very much serve their purposes. And a lot of what we're going to do is we're going to discuss what we're working on and kind of divvy out some tasks. And essentially, like, this is sort of to make sure that we're all coming together and working together on the same page, collaborating. Some of this will involve the work that Senate committees is doing, but really this is to make sure that both branches are on the same page, to make sure the forum is on the same page with other officers, to make sure that senators get a seat at the table. I know sometimes in the past that's been something we struggled with. We want to make sure that there is senator representation. So it's really just a way to, one, bring all of our efforts together, and 2, to ensure more efficiency. And actually, the goal of this is before the end of this year to come out with a bunch of really solid changes and policy proposals to deliver real results for the students. And hopefully this can be a really historic, I think it's already been a really historic term, but I think hopefully this can be like something that's been on thought of in SGA history and hopefully set a precedent for many years to come. So I'm super excited. I hope you're all excited to get involved. I'm going to take questions if there are any, and then there's going to give a few minutes before we resume to I'm going to send out the form, and you guys will have a few minutes before committee of the whole ends to fill it out. It's open. It'll be open for the rest of the week until Sunday night, but I would recommend it if you already know what you want to do, maybe do it here so you don't forget.
Can you hear me? Okay. I just want to echo Colin on this. I've been working a little bit with Colin Dale's to kind of get the ideas flowing and how we want to structure these task forces. And I really want to stress that we all ran on platforms to make tangible change on this campus, and this is exactly how you are going to do it. This is how we are going to do it. If you are looking for projects, if you're a new senator, if you're a senator who just this semester and you kind of want to get your foot in the door and actually start on a project, this is the perfect place to do it. I strongly recommend that you join these task forces. They're super important. There's a lot of things we're working on. These task forces are really stressing that we're hearing student concerns and we're working on it and trying to make tangible change. So I strongly recommend these task forces.
And we ran on teamwork as well. This is a great example of the branches coming together. In the past, exactly like Colin said, branches have usually been pretty divided. And so we don't really work well together if we're not collaborating. We're on different pages. We're not going to produce the same outcome. So this is really a great way to address that. So.
I really appreciate that. Anybody else? Any questions, comments? Yeah. So what we're going to do? Oh, Senator Strong.
I was just wondering if there's any way for students at UMass who are not in the SGA to get involved in these task forces.
Yeah, so I mean, it's something that could be considered in the future. I think for now, I'd like to start with just trying it with people within the SGA, just because it's a new concept. I think if it's successful, perhaps we can consider that, and we can talk about ways to do that maybe next semester. I just kind of want to see how it works first within the SGA, and then we can talk about expansion. As to the DEI task force, there already is going to be 5 cultural RSO representatives that are going to be sitting on that, so that one will have some representation from not just inside the SGA. But I do love the idea, but I think it's something like maybe we'll see how the next the rest of this semester goes, and if things are going well, maybe we can talk about adding some people for next semester. All right, so now for the next 5 minutes, I will set a timer. I'm going to send out the link, so please take an eye on that. Basically, also, but apparently I freaked out my cabinet because I said that senators don't get paid over the winter. Cabinet and chairs, you get paid. Do not worry. I see the group chat blowing up. Like, what? I'm like, no, you guys didn't mean to cause a scare there. There is winter hours for all those leadership officers, but senators don't get paid. That's why I said that. Unless there are ways and means. Then during the budget process, you do, but not over winter. So basically, it takes us 5 minutes to do this. Let me send out the link quickly. I sent some sick beats. I might play a little music to kind of there's something going on while you guys do this. I'd recommend. Again, it is open till Sunday night. However, if you're able to do it now, like that would be great. Just so people don't forget. I really wanted to give you guys a couple minutes, especially because we only have one more motion after this, and then we're out of here. So it takes 5 minutes to do that. Let me send that out now to. I'll email it and they'll throw it in the group me, and then I'll start the timer. And yeah, it's not a long form, but also on the form, by the way, you can pick multiple. You can apply for multiple of them if you want. Just you have an option to rank your preferences. You don't have to apply for all of them, but you can if you would like. Hold on.
Colin, if you don't mind, I'll add something too about the conduct task force. I want to state now that I do plan on creating a subcommittee in the sense that some of the work that we're doing also involves like the salt council, for example, like the land use policy and the picking code. So those also involve conduct as well as the dishonesty policy that's being talked about with faculty senate. So I don't know what the name of the subcommittee would be. Maybe it would be like policies being discussed like with faculty senate, just so we can kind of like separate the kind of policies that will go through the dean of students office and then the policies that have to go through faculty senate. If anyone has questions on that, just let me know.
I did already email you guys the links if you guys use the back of this box, but if you guys can see that, then we can do that now. But, how is that PC about it? I gotta get moved. Oh yeah, you're right. Let me do that.
link has been sent to all of your emails. I will start the timer now. Good for you all.
I would move that.
It's still a mystery that how to get the person here to work.
Attorney General ruined it. I don't start naming people and stuff. All right. That is 5 minutes. Keep applying if you are keep filling out the form if you are still in the middle of it. That form will stay open until Sunday night, 11:59 p.m. That is a hard deadline. I'll send a reminder in like a day or so. Please join, because if we don't have 2 senators for every committee, we're just going to start without the seat filled. So fill the seat. Fill the seat. Fill the seat. All right, everybody, I yield my time back to your wonderful birthday boy speaker, Speaker Michael Flanagan.
President Humphreys.
Can we give them a round of applause, please?
Yes. Very engaging presentation. All right. Is there any other business for Committee of the Whole? All right. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn the Committee of the Whole. Senator Wu. All right. A subsidiary motion to adjourn the Committee of the Whole has been moved and seconded. Wait. Okay, cool. All those in favor of adjourning Committee of the Whole, please signify with an aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. All those abstain, say abstain. All right. All right, the Senate will be in order. No special orders, no unfinished business, which means we are on to S48, a motion to appoint Srinidhi Manakandan to the position of Undersecretary of the Registry. This motion was reviewed by the Committee on Administrative Affairs on November 7th and was reported favorably. It's sponsored by Chair Centenaro, who is excused tonight. Is Srinidhi here? Oh, do you want to come up? Yes. Secretary Merchant, do you want to just talk a little bit about the hiring process?
Hello, everyone. I opened applications for my undersecretary back in October.
Senator Wu.
Oh, no, it's not.
Good point.
Thank you. I opened applications for my undersecretary back in actually late September, closed it in early October. I had a lot of really, really great, exceptional applicants. I offered around 7 interviews, and in the end, I decided on going with Srinidhi because of her outstanding experience. She went through the RSO application process herself, and as you all may know, one of my big initiatives this year is to reform the application process. So I thought it would be extremely invaluable to have her perspective working with me on this, along with her work ethic, her accomplishments in and outside of SGA. So yeah, let her introduce herself to you all.
Hi everyone, my name is Srinidhi, and I'm so excited to work as the Undersecretary for the Registry with Rania. As she said, I just applied for my own club. It's called the Google Development Student Club, and it just got approved as an RSO, and we've just getting started with everything. And I just right now just finished training and came. And going through the process, I learned several things that were maybe could be improved, or certain feedbacks that I had from my side. So I think with these experiences that I just went through would be really helpful for the registry as well. So yeah.
Are there any questions for the appointee? All right, and just a point of clarification too. The reason why this is before the Senate is because it's a paid position. So that's really what the Senate is confirming right now. All right. With no further questions, is there a second for the motion? Second. All right, does there exist a need for debates? All right, with no indication of a need for debates, the question is on the passage of S48, a motion to appoint Srinidhi Manakandan to the position of Undersecretary of the Registry. All those in favor of passing, S48, please signify with an aye. All those opposed say no. All those abstain say abstain. The ayes have it. Motion passes. Congratulations. All righty. Are there any other motions on the floor except the motion to adjourn? All right. Seeing no further motions, the associate speaker will record the ending roll call.
Senator Denny. Senator Alamanji. Senator Anim. Senator Gorski. Senator Butusova. Senator DeMarco. Senator Dami. Senator Duarte. Senator Duvetti. Senator Eze. Senator Germain. Senator Hercule. Senator Hiranandani. Senator Ibrahim. Senator Imran. Senator Jameh. Senator Kim.
Here.
Senator Kumar. Senator Lequier. Senator Lewis. Senator Molesky. Chair Mazzondo. Senator Mello. Senator Nevins. Senator Nguyen. Chair Onyeka. Senator Patel. Senator Patak. Senator Pastorella. Senator Vaughn. Senator Prabhakaran. Senator Prabhakar. Chair Rabin. Senator Rowe. Chair Sarna. Chair Sharma. Chair Stamen.
Let's just stick with this.
Senator Silveria. Senator Strong. Senator Tamkin. Senator Tao. Chair Tran. Senator Chuang. Senator Verma. Senator Wu.
All right. Thank you, Associate Speaker Arness. Are there any motions on the floor? Senator Nevins. Is there a second? Okay. All right. Motion to adjourn has been moved and seconded. All those in favor of adopting the motion, please signify with an aye. All those opposed say no. All those abstain say abstain. The ayes have it, and accordingly, the Senate stands adjourned until November 20th.